Hello, my name is Vince, and I will be taking you through the lethal climatic events in our near future. As the years pass and we enter further into the 21st century, there is a distinct presence of climatic events taking place around us, and it is up to us, as Gandhi was quoted, to be the change that we wish to see in the world. There is opportunity for change around us each and every day of our lives, but these opportunities are passed by as the casual, unaware individual is uneducated to the severity that these opportunities actually pose on our environment and the generations to come. Studies have been carried out to quantify the immediate impact of pollutants on our environment, along with the various ecosystems that make up our planet Earth as a whole. These impacts are foreseen to have stretched from the quality of the air that we breathe to the food that we eat. In summation, the impacts foreseen have an immediate effect on our species and the furthering of our generations. As stated in Professor Eby's article on assessing and responding to the climatic change and the health risks that go along with it, there is a great threat to humanity resulting from the increased temperature of our atmosphere, which is the product of the increased emissions across our continents. One of the most notable effects is that of the food shortages that Professor Eby's article shows the correlation of pollution and undernutrition. She states that as rising temperatures reduce crop production in many areas, harvests of the sample food crops such as rice and corn could fall as much as 20 to 40% as a result of higher temperatures during the growing season in the tropics and subtropics. This CO2 gas is released into the air in extraordinary rates, and rates that, if left unregulated, will turn this planet into a huge oven. The living conditions are on a downward slope as products such as smog and acid rain take hold of our atmosphere, or more specifically the troposphere layer that we live in. Being surrounded by this lowest layer, one that makes up 75 to 80% of the atmosphere, and stretches ground level all the way up to 65,000 feet, efforts to combat climate change here are crucial. This is since this layer poses such a huge influence on the characteristics of our environment, such as the temperature and the severity of the weather that we experience. Essentially, the process goes as follows. The CO2 is released out of our automobiles and power generation methods, and then allowed to fill up our atmosphere. This gas displaces the oxygen that surrounds us with other pollutants and harmful gases such as carbon monoxide, which is the product of the conventional combustion engine. The additional gases serve as huge thermal absorbers and make great efforts to heat our planet slowly but constantly. The immediate effect of this thermal process is with our weather, or more notably, the storms around us. Heat is the fuel for many processes across our planet, such as the convection currents of our atmosphere and the strength of the climatic events around us. With an increase of the heat energy around us, we open the door for more strong and frequent storms of enormous scales. With ever-growing storms and more pollution, it is only a matter of time before we are faced with a climatic event that cripples humanity as we know it today. It is not too late, however. There is still hope for our future generations. Companies such as Tesla and Turbulent Hydro have been sprouting up around the world. These companies have the ideology of attempting to get pollution and climate change under control, all while providing extensive technological research to further our sciences. Their expertise lies in similar but different areas from each other. However, they both attack the same climatic change issue from different angles. The issue as a whole is to reduce emissions around the world, and this can be accomplished as these companies have found by implementing new means of power generations, and one of which can be done through renewable energy instead of burning fossil fuels. This is an ingenious angle to take on the issue, and surprisingly it hasn't been taken by many companies. The underlying problem with our society is that we are afraid to make changes. Instead, we attempt to use the same technology in similar applications, and in the end, we end up with the same products just with different appearances, and the same issues just in different quantities. Tesla is an automotive company that thrives in renewable energy. Over the years, the company has become a leading contributor to the advancements of electric vehicles. The significance of the application of a power plant differing from the conventional combustion engine is that byproducts of the reaction taking place to create the energy needed to get the vehicle moving are cut down to none at all. Traditionally, there are an abundance of non-environmentally friendly gases released out of the end of the exhaust pipe on an automobile. But Tesla has created the technology needed to piece together a vehicle that functions just as smoothly and elegantly as the engine before, but allowing for increased throttle response and even more advanced accident prevention systems. The number one notable difference between a fossil fuel burning engine and an electric motor is that an engine has significant loss of power from the crank to the wheels. This essentially means that even while the engine is harming our environment, you aren't even getting all the power that is generated through this means of transportation. The electric motor technology that Tesla has been a leading figure on has allowed for a transmissionless system, where there is a direct drive application to the wheels. Now, commuters can utilize more of the energy that their vehicles are consuming, and all while having a zero-emission vehicle. Vehicles with reduced emissions play a key role in our environmental recovery from the mass release of pollutants that we have had in the past. Turbulent Hydro has implemented their own design for bringing the emissions around the world down as much as possible. They have come up with the design of a turbine system to implement into waterways around the world. Electricity can be generated through a natural source such as waterways in this case, where current is constantly flowing. This current is harvested through these turbines that force the water to transfer its energy of motion into energy of rotation, which provided a readily available source of powering homes and businesses around the world. As stated by the company, these turbines can power up to 60 homes per turbine. The benefit is now able to be visualized as the waterways replace the energy needed from the fossil fuel generation methods, and as a result, pollution is cut down. This natural whirlpool design is designed to have a minimum impact on the ecosystem of the nearby waterway. Techniques and technologies such as the turbulent whirlpool generator are paramount to revolutionizing the fossil fuel burning society that we have become today. Tesla has a similar relation to the Turbulent project, in that they have worked to implement solar panels and power pack technology to utilize the sun's naturally occurring rays. An example of this application can be seen on the small American Samoan island, Cal, where before Tesla's influence burned on average 300 gallons of diesel per day to run their generators. This power is used to run the homes and businesses for the people around the island. Pollution rates are clearly a huge concern for this application, so Tesla implemented their solar panels and power packs to both generate and store the power that would be the new supply for the island, and help transition from diesel to solar. An incredible 5,328 solar panels have been utilized in total, and the solar energy has been stored across 60 Tesla power packs. Interestingly enough, the island can have its power demands met for up to 3 days without sunlight. This energy level only takes 7 hours to be reached, and this is significant compared to the diesel generation before. The technology across the island will reduce the amount of pollution released into the atmosphere year after year. In summation, there is no time better than now to be the change that we wish to see in the world around us. It is up to us to preserve the world as we know it for the generations to come after us. If we continue in our outdated ways, we will have ruined the beauty of the world we live in before our future generations even get a chance to see it in its entirety. It is time that we implement more advanced means of renewable energy use and become more and more technologically advanced in the pollutionless society that we need to become. As a whole, the human race has overcome so much more than the issue of climate change, and we must not let the pollution rates destroy our great progress. Join me in the fight to become an activist for climate control and pollution regulation, so that our future can be filled with the true Mother Nature and not a version that has been forcibly revamped due to humanity's ignorance.